Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back for White Lotus episode 5. Welcome all to a wild night at the White Lotus. And here, my brother in podcasting, Josh Wigler. Josh, how are you?
I'm doing so good. I'm looking at you podcasting with me while I'm podcasting with you. And it's like, I know on the outside, I'm a 40-year-old man, but am I also a 40-year-old man on the inside, or am I a 45, 46?
Maybe one of the greatest monologues in the history of television appeared in episode 5 of season 3 of The White Lotus. And we're here to talk about it all.
Yes, we're here to talk about it all with
a night we won't soon forget on The White Lotus.
I don't think so. And a really surprise cameo from an actor who I don't think anyone knew was going to be on the show. Makes some sense because the great Sam Rockwell is married to Leslie Bibb, who plays Kate. So was that how he showed up here in Thailand?
That's why she didn't want to have any fun. It was just like,
I would assume so, yeah.
My husband is right here.
My husband's in Bangkok. I'd really like to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And Sam Rockwell never does anything half measure. And apparently this character also goes full measure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Full tilt boogie from a lot of our characters here on The White Lotus.
Yes.
Episode 5.
This seems like an episode about getting busy or not getting busy. And I think a lot of people scored points here, Rob.
Yep.
And then some of them I feel like were like either total whiffs or in even a couple of cases, some own goals, I believe.
Yes. Okay. Well, we are always getting busy on the podcast side of things. Of course, it's all happening right here. We Know Scripted TV, where Josh Wigler and the doctors are wrapping up Severance coverage right now here for season 2 of Severance. You can hear all that and everything else we have going on over at WeKnowScriptedTV.com. Josh, you have always talked about with The White Lotus about how every episode of The White Lotus is a day. It's a day. It starts we have the morning and we go into the night and we have dinner and everybody has dinner together. And I feel like that in these last 2 episodes, we've broken format in so much as that the day was episode 4, but then episode 5 was still the continuation of that same day that started on episode 4.
Yes, and so in like the Survivor analog here, as we like to track sort of like the reality TVification of HBO via Mike White on The White Lotus, this is like a non-elimination episode of Australian Survivor. I feel like every episode of the show, it has that cadence. It has that like you can anticipate an immunity challenge. We'll go back to camp. We'll go to tribal council at night. That's like wake up. We'll have some sort of excursion.
Mm-hmm.
We will have the dinner, and then insane fallout from that. And I guess the fallout was just so insane this particular evening that we had to stay in it. We just had to stick around. So no one got voted off. A lot of people got voted in.
Yeah, I thought that maybe it was more like a 2-part episode from episode 4 to episode 5. But maybe what we need next season, 90-minute episodes for The White Lotus.
I think I would be down for a 90-minute episode of The White Lotus. I think that way we'd be we'd be able to be more true to format.
Fit in time for all their journeys and everything.
I could have used another 30 minutes of just like Carrie Coon dancing like she's Elaine, like sexy Elaine.
Wild, huge montage in the middle of this episode. Real party episode. The wildest times I think we've ever seen on The White Lotus. But let's get into what happened with all of our characters. And the Ratliff family has been split up in some ways.
We split up the tribe. Oh, man.
We'll talk about what the Ratliff boys are up to in a little bit. But over at dinner, we had this, we got to see finally a little bit of that conversation that Piper had talked about where she wanted to tell mom and dad, and she doesn't have the backup from Lachlan here, but she's going to tell them about how she would like to move here permanently.
Yeah, she wants to live here. Piper, you're going to move to Taiwan?
You're not a Buddhist.
You're not a Buddhist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it goes over about as well as Piper probably expected it to. I don't know that it would have gone much better with Lachlan there. I don't know that really would have tipped.
He could have done like a magic trick and like
the little magician. That's right.
But Mom, is this a Lorazepam in your ear?
Yeah. Wow. You stole them? It was you, Lachlan. I needed those.
Yeah.
I had to drink myself to sleep last night.
Well, we see that Victoria is very upset about this, and she feels like that maybe this is like she's projecting onto Timothy, who has his own issues, that this is a problem for him. I don't know if this ever sinks in for him.
Not really. I kept waiting for him to have a big reaction, but foolish me to think that he's thinking about literally anything else other than his impending demise, which he may be trying to hasten, it turns out.
Yeah. Well, as far as he's concerned, what does he care if Piper wants to go be a Buddhist monk for a year?
Yeah, his whole thing's done.
Fine.
It's over. Whatever happens next, we're shutting down shop.
You're going to live at some dirty monastery? Mm-hmm.
This guy wrote a lot of books. Charles Manson wrote books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bill Clinton wrote books.
Bill Clinton wrote books. He sure
Hillary
did.
Clinton wrote 5 books.
5 books. Unbelievable, Victoria Ratliff. And so, yeah, she's really concerned that that Piper is like, I guess she's concerned that Buddhism is kind of like Scientology adjacent. She references Nexium. She says, these organized religions, they're just sex cults.
Mm-hmm.
What does that say about your religion, Vicky? What does that say about you? She says, everyone I know is Christian.
Okay. And your point is?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. So,
Timothy is not hearing it. He has to excuse himself at one point. So we get some crossover. I mean, the only real stuff that happens with Guy Talk in this episode is he figures out that it was Timothy who took the gun. He checks the tapes. Brian Gumbel's got the tapes, and so does Guy Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is able to survey the tapes, and he goes with, I think, a fairly soft approach to Tim. I think he could have worked on his sales pitch here. What does he say to him?
I think you have something of mine.
Yeah, he says, I cannot find something. I think you have it. And Timothy says, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he leaves with the gun in his pants. Two guns in his pants.
Whoa. I couldn't really figure out what Guy Talk was trying to, like, was he like waiting for Mook to get off her shift to tell her like something terrible happened?
No, I think that he was coming here specifically to find Timothy. I think what he initially was here for was to watch Mook dance. That was what he was supposed to be doing tonight, but his whole night got wildly railroaded by this disappearing gun. So he has other things on his mind than Mook, unfortunately.
Yeah. Should Guy Talk be moving with more of a sense of urgency of like, hey, like just like this guy walked into my office and took the gun. Like, let's get some backup here.
So I was thinking about this, and I imagine that the thought is like, if I tell them that, like, if they find out that this gentleman took a gun off the desk 2 days, 3 days after a robbery went through, I'm losing my job. And like, I'm not trying to lose my job. I'm trying to get promoted. But I feel like maybe the move is because they don't have any of the, there's no video footage of Timothy literally taking the gun. There is video footage of Timothy walking in and walking out. And so that's how he knows he has the gun. But what if he just comes in and just does like a strong tackle? He does like a strong tackle of Timothy. Guy Talk comes in. He just like comes in real tough. Real rough stuff, and he's able to get the gun. Like, this guy just like broke in and stole the gun. He doesn't have to say it was on the desk. It's gonna be this guy has a gun, and that's the story. So I feel like Guy Talk maybe overthought this. I think maybe the move is be a security guard.
Assault Timothy?
Yeah, I think so. I think you like take him down. This is a gunman. This is a gunman on campus.
Josh, this is the White Lotus. They're gonna take Timothy's word over Guy Talk. Timothy's like, this guy assaulted me.
Yeah. But what is
mind my own business?
But does Timothy have the energy? Does Timothy have the fight in him to do that anymore? That I'm not sure.
He'd throw Guy Tuck under the bus.
You think that
he'd
even
rally
now,
for that? Yeah.
Wow. Then he deserves everything that's coming his way.
Yeah.
He deserves absolutely every single thing that's coming his way then.
All right. So let's talk about some of these big party trips that are going on in this episode.
Before we do, we should go back to Timothy and Victoria and Piper. They go home, and it looks like if Victoria hadn't walked in when she did, that we were about to be done with Timothy Ratliff as a character.
Did you think he was about to do it? Do you think that we were going to end the episode on that?
Not after she left.
But right before that.
Yes, I was very concerned. I was very concerned that's
I didn't think so. Nobody's checking out of the White Lotus on episode 5. If this was episode 8, I'd be like, okay, this can happen.
Yeah. So he was really close though. And Victoria and Timothy talk about he's like, do you have any idea how stressed I am? Mm-hmm. I haven't known a single day without all this shit put upon me. And she says to him, there's no reason to be stressed, Tim. You've already succeeded in every way. In every way. Wow. Mm-hmm. To be loved that much.
Yeah, incredible.
So blindly. Yeah, it would be an amazing, amazing thing.
So his note, I'm so sorry, I love you.
That's it.
I thought that was a little light on the note. Right?
I feel like, maybe some of his fine motor skills are impacted because he's still just all effed up on all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe he just he wasn't feeling particularly loquacious that day.
But so he has a prayer. He's like, please God, tell me what to do. Do you think that Timothy will get some sort of a message, some divine intervention on what to do next?
Yes. This being the White Lotus, I think so. And especially this season where we are talking about figuring out the self and reckoning with who you are and the signs that are there. I do think that Timothy will interpret something as a sign. Whether or not it's going to be a proper interpretation or he's just going to get himself in deeper is the question for me. But I think that he will see something will happen that makes him feel like this is the way, this is the move. I just think it might be a very bad move.
I said to my wife at the end of this scene, if he thought things were bad now, wait till he finds out that his son's just hooked up. He might have.
he might shoot them.
He
might shoot them.
I think,
boys, we had one rule.
Mm-hmm.
We had one rule in this house.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So speaking of the partiers, let's talk about what the Ratliff boys were up to that night. And they're hanging out with Chloe and Chelsea. And what does Saxon say at the end of the last episode of things are about to get crazy?
Yeah. Saxon shot his shot for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we have everything going on the boat, and we see that Chloe, she likes that little magician.
I love that. I love it. Oh, I love that little magician with his little heart beating out of his tiny little chest. It's like, wow, this is visceral and weird. But she's just desperate.
Chloe doesn't really have a type. She's with Greg Gary and then also little tiny, Chalamet magicians.
Yeah, she likes them old. She likes them young.
I don't know if she really ever liked Greg old. I think Greg was, a means to an end.
Sure. She'll take them old. She'll take them old. She'll take them young. She'll take a douchebag. She'll take Chelsea. She'll take what she can get right now. She says that it used to be 24/7 Pound Town with Gary, but he barely touches me anymore.
Yeah. What's his problem?
I don't know. Well, he's got other things on his mind.
Okay. So Chelsea and Chloe had a conversation that I thought was interesting, and I'd love to get your take on how much foreshadowing is here. That Chelsea warns, Chloe warns Chelsea that she's a romantic, and all the girls who are romantic end up brokenhearted or worse.
Yes, and Chelsea says, "Well, what could be worse?" And we cut to the ocean. That is the very next shot. And as a reminder of the setup for this season, in the very first scene, there is a body in the water, as there sometimes is on the White Lotus. And it's very evocative in some ways of the body in the water at the start of season 2, who we knew to be fan favorite game changer, Tanya McQuaid. So it's giving Tanya, and it feels like every single episode we are continuing to have this conversation. Chelsea, you're in danger, girl. And this moment between them, what could be worse? What could be worse than being brokenhearted would be not having a heart at all anymore because you're dead. So I'm concerned for sure. The thing that I'm holding on to is that this isn't Mike White's first rodeo. He's been doing these White Lotuses. He's been out here White Lotusing for the last, several moon parties of his life.
Yep.
He now knows the depth and the dedication of the fandom. He knows that the audience expects there to be a death, a mystery to unravel, to figure out who's going to be the person to get got this season. And I feel like the breadcrumbs leading to a Chelsea death exist. And so if she dies, it will be like a well-grooved path. I just wonder if he's like getting you with the right hook just so he can knock you with the left. So I'm hoping for a left hook. I don't know who gets knocked out in that case, but I hope that we're really playing up the Chelsea's in danger thing, because ultimately that's going to be like a big moment where she is in danger, but somehow gets out of it. But I don't know. What are you thinking?
2 seasons prior on the White Lotus, I feel like that the person who died was certainly a popular fan favorite character, but like not a real person. Like with all due respect to
Murray Bartlett,
yeah. But they were just like caricatures of people. Whereas that we have not had like a sympathetic figure like a Chelsea end up like where if she died, it would be a tragedy where that both, Murray Bartlett and also, Jennifer Coolidge. I mean, that was death in comedy.
Yeah. I mean, they were tragic comedies, right? Like you have to remember what happened for their actual, the demises themselves. While it was sad to lose characters who you were invested in, Murray Bartlett died after taking a dump in a dude's suitcase, and Jennifer Coolidge died by Sari Fieldsing the balance beam. They were after she had just gone in first person shooter mode. It was an absurd moment. We've already been built up to whoever is going to die this season. It feels less comical than it has felt previously.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that will hold, or if you're observing something that we should be paying more attention to, which is ultimately the deaths at worst have a tragicomic element to it, as opposed to outright full on you're going to leave the White Lotus feeling horrible because Chelsea died.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Chelsea is the person who ends up dying. But let's get back to the party, not to bring the mood down.
Yeah, sure.
We're going out in Thailand, and we see that Chelsea has picked up some pills.
Yeah, is this any of these leftovers from Victoria's supply, or these Victoria's Secret? These are
I think say from
pills?
Sydney Sweeney's supply.
Oh well, yeah, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if she somehow knows the Sydney Sweeney character, or some sort of crossover in the future would make some sense to me. Yeah, they're rolling. We rolling with the homies. That's definitely what's going on, and playing a little suck and blow too.
Okay. All right. Well, so we have this Ziploc bag, and we got some, ecstasy. Is that right?
I don't do drugs.
MDMA.
Rob,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, we see that it's Lachlan who's very quick. This is fun, Lachlan.
Yo, Lachlan is
unlocked Lachlan.
Lachlan is unlocklin, and I maybe want to put him back behind a locked door. I'm a little.
You don't like him anymore?
It's not that I don't like him anymore. I just, I have some
fun guy.
I have some thoughts about some of his choices.
Yeah,
just a couple of them. But he tells Sax, he says, one of these days, I'm going to take you down. It's it might be tonight.
It might be tonight. Yeah. Well, Saxon does not want the ecstasy. He does not want the drugs. He says, Saxon, he goes third person. Saxon doesn't do drugs.
Saxon
is the drug.
Doesn't do drugs. Saxon is the drug.
Arnold, you raised such a proper young man.
Apparently not. Have you watched this show? Have you seen what he's been doing? Did you watch this episode? He kissed his brother. He never did that as far as Arnold knows. Unbelievable. It was so funny. It was so funny.
Yeah. Great. That was a great prank.
Yeah. Incest is hilarious.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everybody's just partying. We had a huge montage scene, and really, like, the two party scenes are overlapping here, but we end up really just like back at the boat, right?
Yeah. We go back to the boat. They like see like the fire dancers on the beach. They go back to the boat, and we start doing like do it, like just exchanging kisses. First, it's the little magish. Then it's the two ladies, and now you boys are gonna kiss. And they're like, wait, like it's not like a boy on boy thing that we're necessarily. This is my brother. This is I don't know that. And Lachlan's like, doesn't matter to me. Let's do it. And so Lachlan's just leaning in. Saxon bit off more than he could chew with his brother. I think.
I think so.
He's been pumping him up the whole week.
Yeah, got him too excited.
He's been juicing him. He's been
juicing him up. He tells him, get laid, get everything.
Yeah, get laid, get everything. And so like Lachlan's like, okay, well then let's give this a shot. So he gives him a big old kiss.
Yeah. Chelsea and Chloe, they were very amused by this.
They love it, of course. They're like us watching the show, being like, are you kidding me? Really? This is what we're doing? Yeah, they're scandalized. As am I. It was scandalous.
Lachlan and Gary might be Eskimo brothers, and Lachlan and Saxon, just regular brothers.
Yeah, there's a moment earlier in the episode where he's giving Lachlan like his final like pep talk before the night, where he's like, it's going down tonight, so like get ready. And Chelsea and Chloe come in. They're like, what are you guys talking about? And they're like, oh, just brother bonding, brotherly love. And boys, you have no idea.
Yeah. Josh, where's this all going?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like Saxon has to have some sort of like big comeuppance, right? Like he's just too high on his own supply to not have some sort of huge comeuppance take him down. I feel like being outshined by his little brother and like having like put him on some kind of a pedestal, and the little magician now taking Chloe and Chelsea not wanting anything to do with Saxon. I feel like that could send Saxon down some sort of like Timothy inspired downward spiral. So
yeah, a spiral, I think something for sure.
Like that.
Well, yeah. I also wonder, and we have gotten to know Saxon very well. And, Saxon, he really prides himself as a ladies' man.
Yes.
I don't believe...
I'm Saxon, I'm the ladies' man.
I don't believe Saxon has kissed any other men. Yeah. So I'm wondering if that he, in the light of day, has some sort of, not just gay panic, but some kind of incest panic.
Yeah, sure.
Like, not only did I make out with a guy last night, I made out with my brother. How does Saxon process that?
Yeah, I think he would have preferred, if he was going to make out with a guy, that maybe it was Guy Talk. I think would have been a better situation for Saxon.
Or Sam Rockwell.
I don't think he handles it well. Would be my guess. And
what does that look like?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, does he just pretend it never happened, or does he scold Locke? Like, dude, that was not the way. Like, that's not how we're supposed to do this. I think it will rattle him for sure. It'll Ratliff him for sure.
Let's talk about then the other big party crew, the girls' trip, and they are out and about and continuing on with their wild night with Valentine and company.
Alexei and Vladimir, what a character. Alexei, as a reminder, is the one who apparently has a snake tattoo that goes all the way down.
Yeah.
Vladimir is the one whose parents are dead and has been apparently accused of killing another family member by his aunt.
Wrongfully. Wrongful. Let the record show.
Yeah.
That is not the case.
Okay, so here's an issue that I'm having. I'm having some trouble with the show right now, because if we're theorizing that the robbery was some sort of inside job with Valentine, then that means Alexei and Vladimir were probably the perpetrators, right? Then that means that I'm on the side of the robbers, because I think these guys are hilarious.
You love them.
I think Vladimir, I would do a spinoff with Vladimir. I want to go to like the White Lotus Moscow with Vlad. I think
maybe that could be season 4.
I think that could be very fun. Could be very fun. He just has a lot of feelings. This guy has a big heart, you can tell.
Well, we start off at one dance club and we're partying over there, and then that there are some women that are sort of like giving the side eye to these guys, and then more than the side eye, giving them the business. Yeah, they read them for filth. They come over, but Jacqueline was sort of summoning them. Jacqueline's really on one. Can you believe Jacqueline in this episode? Yeah, well, we'll get to what she's up to. And so ultimately, they end up leaving. So why don't we just go back to the resort? They bring them back to the White Lotus, despite Kate's objections.
She really does not want these men coming back to their cabana. Kate wants to go to bed. She doesn't like how this is all playing out.
Yes, I felt very seen.
Yeah, well, that moment where they're at the club and like everybody, okay, I think it's finally time to leave, and everybody agrees, and then they're like, oh, come back to the cabana, and Kate's like, oh no, and she's like looking for Lori to be like the voice of reason here, but Lori is like 1,000 sheets to the wind. So like you are getting like that moment. I really felt seen as the person who's like, can we just go home? And then like your ever reliable person suddenly is just like on one, and they will not let you go home.
All right.
Tough night for Kate. She just wanted to go to bed.
Josh, I'm mad at myself by not opening the episode with giving you my new drink celebration. Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. Shia LaBeouf. Yes.
Shia LaBeouf to you.
Shia LaBeouf to you. As my people like to say, we like to say Shia LaBeouf when we have a little sip of something.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf. He could be on White Lotus season 4.
So we're learning about these guys, and we're just like partying. We ultimately get the overlapping montage with the Moon Crew, and
then Carrie Coon does a Moon Crew. She moons the crew.
Yeah,
she
It was more of a flash than a moon.
It was a little more than a flash. I think it was more like this is like an eclipse. It's like a solar eclipse is what we get.
Don't stare too long.
Lori's just partying hard, and she takes it all off, and that's she's like being surrounded by Vlad and or by Alexei and Valentine. And it looks like it's going to go a certain way. And like, I love like Carrie Coon is just an unbelievable performer. And the way that like she is playing Lori, no inhibitions, she's free. She's, the clothes are off and she's just like totally free. But she's such, as the character at least, is such a bad dancer. But like is just like leaning into it, and we're like, oh, you're sexy dancing. Meanwhile, here she is just doing the Carlton. It's just so funny to me.
I respect the move. Like if you don't have the dance moves, just get naked. Nobody will be worried about the dancing.
Probably they'll be talking about something else. Yeah. You would think. You would think it's a good distraction. Okay,
and she is then also kind of losing these guys on the story that she ends up telling, though.
Yeah, that's probably it, right? Like her past bleeds into the present, and so she has no future with these people.
Yeah, and
meanwhile, Vladimir's telling stories to Jacqueline and Kate.
Why'd the aunt break a bottle over his head?
My aunt broke bottle over my head.
Yeah,
she is bitch. Okay, that's enough.
That's it. Okay, and Kate says, "All right, wrap it up. That's
wrap
it.
Wrap it up. Yeah.
All right. So everything is like, okay, we're finally going to go to bed. But what a night. Wow. Jacqueline and Lori, they just had the time of their lives.
We apparently, maybe, I hope, have a date at a Mai Tai match for...
Sounds like it. I believe this is the same match that Guy Talk was invited to earlier in the show. Like, feel like that's, you think that's what, episode 7, episode 8?
Well, if it was tomorrow night, then it should be, if we go back to form, then it should be next week. Is what it should what it should be. It'd be very cool to see on the show. It would be very, very fun.
All right, so we thought we knew how this was going, and then all of a sudden we see Jacqueline texting, and here comes Valentine.
Wow!
And she steals Valentine, Jacqueline.
She steals Valentine. Valentine, you little philanderer, you little scamp. Valentine was leading Lori all the way down the aisle, and then he caught the eye of a bridesmaid and got out of town, drove out of Vegas.
What's going on here? And now, again, tell me if am I being toxic to say that I'm not even mad at Valentine?
Oh, well, Jacqueline is terrible. Jacqueline is terrible. Jacqueline
is that a bad take by me?
No,
because Valentine's like whatever.
No. Valentine, like
any port in a storm for Valentine.
I think ultimately, like, what does Valentine owe any of these people? And like they they lured him out of the hotel. I'm hard pressed to have too much sympathy for Valentine because he's probably like a criminal. Who's been like taking the White Lotus for some rides here. But he didn't ask to go for a ride with these people today anyway. And the day broke the way that the day broke. And Jacqueline booty called him. That's consent. I don't know if they do that
to the
in
senior
Thailand.
Citizen facility.
Yeah, that's right. And so she booty calls him. That's consent in Thailand. And so he's a grown adult and he goes and he does the thing. And Jacqueline, who had been trying to pair this man with Lori all season.
Yeah.
Jacqueline.
What's Jacqueline's problem here? Is that Jacqueline is not used to Lori being the center of attention?
The sun must always shine on Jacqueline Lemon, I think is what this is. I think she's used to the spotlight. I think she's used to being at the center of attention. She's been having trouble getting in touch with her husband. So maybe she thinks that she's just doing whatever her husband is probably doing while she's gone. So maybe it's like less about Lori or Kate or whoever and more about like her own personal shit. But this is bad behavior. It's bad behavior, though. What a butt. That was she like just grabbed it and brought it in.
Did you see those abs too?
I saw the whole thing. Well, not the whole thing, but a lot of it.
Okay. So I really feel like we're heading in the direction. These 3 women, the girls trip, the victory tour, the childhood friends, are in a trajectory that they will never be friends again. I feel like that this is it. This is the last time these 3 ever connect.
Yeah. So this isn't a victory tour; it's a defeat tour.
Decommissioning. Deactivation.
Yeah. We're sending this ship.
It's a retirement ceremony.
It's a retirement ceremony. That's why they were sent. That's why they were sent to the retirement hotel. Is because there's a little bit of foreshadowing that this is the last lap. This is the last time we're going around the bend, ladies. This is it. Enjoy it. So, enjoy it. Who's going to come out the worst of the 3?
Of the 3? Yeah. I feel like Jacqueline.
You mean looking the worst?
Yeah, I don't think that we're going to think that Lori looks the worst, but I think that the other 2, I feel like we're going to come away with bad feelings about.
I think that I would probably say it's going to be Lori number 1, Kate number 2, Jacqueline number 3. Certainly like the rankings right now, though. Like Kate could have loosened up a little bit. You would think just. This Vladimir, he didn't even kill anybody. He was wrongfully accused.
Yeah. Look, I know people have their issues with Kate. In my mind, she did nothing wrong in this episode.
Yeah. No,
she's an independent in all ways. She's an independent thinker.
That's right. That's correct.
It's like, I want to go to bed. I respect it.
And you know what? For whatever it's worth, agree or disagree with her, at least she was very clear about her vote in this episode. I vote for bed. She was
out partying all day. What is she to stay up all night too?
No, it is a long night. And also, let's not forget that they were previously accosted by children with water guns in the street. It's the same day. It's been a very supercharged day.
Been a long day. Okay. Long day. All right. Let's then talk about what's going on with Belinda as we get Belinda
another booty call.
Well, first off, earlier in the day, she finds out from Fabian, like, guess what? One of the people here is very interested in you. You must be a very important person.
Fabian is swiftly becoming my favorite character on the show, I think. When he drives past Guy Talk and he's like, it might still be the post-traumatic stress that you are feeling. Do you want an antacid for your tummy? When you are nervous, sometimes it happens to me. And then he goes off. Like, he's just like this little magician. Fabian, I think, belongs in the little magician school.
Let him perform.
I want him to perform. I want to see his magic tricks. I do think so. I feel like I know we've already done the hotel manager death story, but like Fabian is prime pickings to be the victim here. I feel like if we're talking about like somebody who could have like a tragicomic death, yes, but I don't think he has enough story for it to be impactful enough. But Fabian is, if Fabian dies because he didn't take Belinda's warning seriously enough,
Well, Fabian says, let's call the police. And he's like, no, we can't.
We can't call the police. No.
What if you're wrong?
Yeah, people here, they have
believe women, Fabian, okay? That's my message for you, sir.
Is a colorful past, is what he says. And she's like, I could send you the link. He's like, please, I'm very confused about all of this. So he's going to basically tell Belinda, like, put this back in the drawer and never talk about it again. Luckily, Porn Chai is a real one. Porn Chai's out here. He's like, I will keep you safe.
Yeah. So he comes to Belinda's, we thought, haunted hotel room. It turns out that there is some kind of lizard. Are you able to spot what kind of lizard this is?
Unfortunately not. This is Spy the Lizard is not my strongest activity. It looked big. We see it's a big reptiles on this show.
That's like with last week with Timothy Ratliff, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's it. So I guess that she's been stalked by this giant lizard. Earlier in the season, she was afraid of like some giant stuff. Like, what's happening here with the animal trajectory for Belinda? I guess is
metaphor.
My question.
Is the lizard symbolize Greg, some sort of like cold-blooded lizard that's stalking her?
Yes, that
lurking
feels right.
in the shadows.
That feels right. Like he is like Greg is giving like Dennis Hopper King Koopa, right? Like there's a little bit of that like dark Goomba quality to him. So if this is just like sort of like kind of like the metaphor of like a little bit of like the Bugs Bunny Elmer Fudd dynamic that might be percolating between these two, I could see it. But Porn Chai saves the day. He gets rid of the lizard. And then, he frees it. He frees the lizard.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's some awkward situations with Belinda and Porn Chai about where should Porn Chai sleep?
Yeah. You can sleep over there. You can sleep. There's room enough in this bed. But I don't know if you wanted to like do that. But this is called consent. I don't know if you guys do that here. It's pretty new. And then Porn Chai, who was like, the other night, he was like, stupid. Like he was feeling like he had like blown it with Belinda. No, Porn Chai, this is impressive. You guys have known each other for like 4 days. And like, I feel a deep connection between these two.
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen with Belinda and Porn Chai?
Well, you know what I don't want to have happen that I'm now concerned about because I'm always worried about who's going to die on the show. And Belinda is talking about like, so I'm going to die? Like, that's what's going to happen? Is like my friend like died and I'm just getting my group back and I'm going to die?
Is dying. Like,
no, I don't think so.
What you were talking about like with Chelsea of like that, okay, we're worried for Chelsea.
No
like,
way.
I think that's very much what's going on here with Belinda. I think we're supposed to be worried about Belinda. She's too pure. She's too perfect.
Definitely agree. I don't think that she's marked for the Reaper here, but I do wonder about like orange eye caught in a crossfire or something like that. So that scares me. That scares me. But I hope that it's just like sunshine and rainbows and Zion comes in a day or so. And like maybe like she can introduce, like if this was just like a fairly straight, sort of boring but happy story, I'd be thrilled for Belinda. She deserves some happiness. If that's the reason that we bring Belinda back to the show, is just to show that in this universe, some good things can happen to good people, Dianu. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's then talk about what's going on with Rick and his mission, where he's gone to Bangkok. And
certainly.
Yeah, and he really doesn't do much in this episode other than he meets up with this associate of his.
Yes, this associate of his, the great Sam Rockwell, has not logged into the White Lotus hotel, but here he is on the show. And apparently they're old colleagues. At one point, Sam Rockwell, who I didn't catch a name for his character, so I will just be calling him Sam Rockwell.
I don't know either. Yeah.
So Sam Rockwell tells us that he picked Thailand because he couldn't stay in the United States, which sounded like legally he couldn't be there, is what that sounded like to me. So he picked this. He brings, despite the fact that he's a practicing Buddhist at this point, he still brings a gun to Rick. And he even says that he's up for a little light role play tomorrow because I owe you one. So we've at least heard about some of Sam Rockwell's role playing on this show. So I wonder what this is going to entail.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's then get to our main course here with Sam Rockwell, because we hear this epic monologue of his story here in Thailand.
Yeah. So he came here. He was in a bad way. He started he's explaining his sobriety, why he has a chamomile tea. I love, how's your chamomile tea? And so he has to explain his chamomile tea. And his chamomile tea came about because he was getting really messed up. He was partying too hard. He was doing things that would make Saxon and Lachlan blush. Yeah. He was having sex with all of the women he could. Yeah. And then he imagined himself being these women.
Yeah.
And so
one night I took home a ladyboy.
Yeah.
And the ladyboy effed me.
Yeah.
And it was kind of magical.
Yeah.
And I really respect just the openness.
Yeah. To be this vulnerable with someone.
Be this vulnerable. And they must have a great relationship, because he's telling this story. It's just like,
I feel like you would be this vulnerable with me, no? I feel like you tell me everything.
Certainly. Well, your candor is, unprecedented.
Yeah, like I feel like you could talk to me about anything, Rob, and I'd be, I wouldn't judge you for your proverbial chamomile tea, whatever it is you decided to start drinking. I just would be surprised. I would probably be as surprised as Walton Goggins to hear you tell such a story.
And Walton Goggins' reaction to this story, where he's not like, excuse me, what? Wait, we're talking? Yeah.
Again, like the things that they're doing with Walton Goggins this season are so great, because he is somebody who just does such a good job with dialogue, and they're taking it away from him. So he has to lean on other tools as an actor. He can't get a single word in edgewise during this entire story. All he can do is sip his doers and just try to live through it.
And so basically he realized that he wanted to be one of these Asian women.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, so is it true that I know I'm a middle-aged white guy on the outside, but is that who I am on the inside? Or am I an Asian girl? And then he's like, and so then I really kind of thought I lost it and sobered up. And so that was the thing that took him too far and led him to Buddhism, because in Buddhism, he was able to have questions about the self that
we all have our Achilles heel, Josh.
Yes. What's yours? You want to tell people on a podcast what your Achilles heel is?
I'll tell you in private.
Yeah. Do you want to know what mine is?
What is it?
I'll tell you in private.
Okay. Like, it's one thing for us to be vulnerable with each other, but like
a big audience.
Not everybody needs to know.
I don't think you all need to know.
If I see you in person, I could tell you.
Sure.
I'm talking to the listener.
Here's what happens. Yeah, if we see you in person and you're like, I loved your White Lotus podcast. What's your Achilles heel? I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But it has to be in person. You have to have found us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Sam Rockwell then also tells us, additionally, does he say that sex is a metaphor for all of our forms?
Yeah, I think it's something like that. That sex is just metaphorical anyway. It's a pretty powerful metaphor. Yeah. It's like a little bit of a heavy-handed metaphor, of what he's describing.
Okay. But, yeah, being sober is one thing. Being celibate is even harder.
That's what's hard. That's what's difficult, is celibacy. Celibacy, not being sober, is the challenge for him. Well, in his defense, chamomile tea is very good, but he doesn't get to have his favorite tea anymore.
Yeah. Let me just ask you.
Of course, his favorite tea is porn chai.
Yeah. Josh, do you feel like that? Is there any foreshadowing here with this Sam Rockwell character? And is there another character that we've met in the White Lotus that is a sex-obsessed person who may have their eyes opened in a different way to maybe having a different thought or understanding about who they might be as a person?
Yeah. Sam Rockwell, I want you to speak to my child.
Yeah, do you think that's
need of your counsel?
Do you think that Saxon potentially is on a similar path to the Sam Rockwell character?
So if it goes down that the Ratliffs have to stay in Thailand, yeah, I could see that. I could see that being an outcome for Saxon for sure. I don't, we've got limited time on the board for that to be the direction that we go in. But of the characters that exist for whom this story would really apply in like a literal way, Saxon number one with a bullet. On a metaphorical level, I would say this is probably some sort of journey that Rick is on.
Well, I'm just saying, as we're talking about the reasons for the Ratliffs to stay in Thailand, like, could you see Saxon potentially considering assuming a different identity and staying in Thailand?
It's going to take some time for him to have some of those epiphanies, I think. I don't know if we've got that in
3 days.
3 days left. I'm not so sure. Sure. But will he be asking himself some questions? I suspect so.
Maybe if these two guys could meet, though.
Yeah, but that's going to be difficult. Like, are we going to get Sam Rockwell at the White
Lotus?
Back
at the White Lotus.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to see that. I do think that would be fun.
It'd be like sort of like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. What's his role play going to be? I need you for a little role playing.
Well, we saw that Rick, when he sat down with Sritala, when he was pretending to be some kind of like mogul, like somebody who was working in the entertainment industry, that maybe he may have Sam Rockwell play another one of his associates.
Oh, sure. That tracks. I love Sam Rockwell. Great actor. Very, very good dramatic actor and an excellent comedian. This is a combination that I never knew I could even possibly dream of, is Walton Goggins and Sam Rockwell. So whatever shenanigans they're up to next, I'm here for. It does seem that it will involve a handgun. As that, he says, I sure hope you don't have to use that thing. But I guess we'll see.
We'll see. Okay, Josh, anything else from the White Lotus episode 5?
No, I liked the format breaker though. I thought that it was fun to like have like almost like this was like an episode of 24. It was like a real time experience. It almost felt like, So but the clock is ticking. We've only got a few episodes left, and I know that there's some people who have thought that this season has been too slow of a burn. Are you having that feeling after episode 5, or do you think that are we heating up?
Yeah, I think we're heating up. I mean, I think that, look, I'm enjoying the experience while we're here. I have said earlier in the season, I think it's a little slow, but this is what the show is, you know?
Yeah. We build. It's a show that builds.
It's a show that's building. I think that we are like, on the roller coaster, we are about at the apex of the thing. And I think there's going to be a lot of like downward action coming these next 3 episodes. Yeah. So I think just like, hang on.
Yes, that's how I feel as well. That's how I feel too.
So we're in it. We're having a great time.
We're locked in. Just 2 little magicians talking about the show.
Yeah. So a lot to watch out for in terms of like, okay, we've seen a lot of things happen, and I think there's going to be a ton of fallout coming in these next couple episodes.
Yes, and a ton of fallout for Walton Goggins at some point in the near future.
There you go. All right, Josh, what else is coming up for you?
As you mentioned earlier, Severance is getting very close to the end of the line, as in just days from now, we will be at the season 2 finale. So all in on the Severance train right now. You can check out all that coverage here on WeKnowScriptedTV.com on RHAP, where we also have Yellow Jackets coverage. There's a wild season 3 going on Yellow Jackets right now that I don't feel like enough people are talking about. Yellow Jackets has been doing some crazy stuff. We've got other shows that are coming up soon. Once The White Lotus is done, The Last of Us will be on HBO. We'll have coverage of that here as well. Andor, the Star Wars show, is coming back next month. Daredevil is here right now. He's with me. He's here at the moment, sitting beside me. So lots happening. It's all going down here at WeKnowScriptedTV.com.
Of course, everything we have going on over on the reality side on RHAP proper. Be sure to check it all out as far as a wild week of Survivor and so much more. Love to read your comments here on We Know Scripted TV about how we did here today. And looking forward to getting back together with you, Josh, next week. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.